my name is Hope, and this is our presentation on exploring theories of culture, language, and literacy for our BLED project.
My name is Alexandria Muncie. And I'm Jessica Valenzuela.
Okay, hold on. I need to catch my breath down here. Somebody go get my inhaler. Okay, we should be reading our books about Christmas. Ooh. I'm the ghost of cultures past. Thou mustn't forget me, for ye will have to know about me. According to Pericle and Boyle, schools reflect the values, beliefs, attitudes, and practices of the larger society and represent a major socializing force for all students, multilingual learners, and school is often a primary source of adaptation of the language and culture to the larger society. Adaptation is the most important, yet culture is constantly changing. Students will not learn unless content is followed with meaning. Ho, 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 be sure to always think about me, for I will always be there. The ghost of cultures past, needed for future, forever. Oh, Miss Egg, looks like there's a ghost. Oh, no, that's okay. He comes every year. It's the ghost of cultures past.
So the setup
So the
of the
skit
board
that
game
you just
is to
saw
get
was
the
our
board out,
version of the
and then
Ghost of
align
Cultures
and
Past.
stack the same
The
color
skit is
cards and
of the importance of embracing our cultures and not
it's
leaving.
up to 4 players, and
So the skit that you just saw was our version of the Ghost of Cultures Past. The skit is our depiction of the importance of embracing our cultures and not leaving them behind. We need to remember that schools are not just a place for academic learning, but also they're powerful institutions that reflect and reinforce both the values, the beliefs, and the practices of like a larger society. And this socializing function of the schools plays a significant role in shaping our students' understanding of social norms, expectations, and their overall cultural identities. For multilingual learners, schools often serve as a central point for adapting to the language and culture of their larger society. I can't remember who said it or if I read it somewhere, but since I heard it, it stuck with me, and it was a saying that said, we should think of ourselves like a melting pot where all these wonderful cultures meet and join together to create an accepting and inclusive society. So it's not just assimilating to one culture or the other. Instead, you should be looking at it as like one big melting pot where we're embracing everyone's culture and we're learning and we're taking from all of these cultures to just make one large, I don't know, bowl of fun.
For the language and language acquisition, we chose to create a board game. So the setup of the board game is to get the board out and then align and stack the same color cards and make sure that they're shuffled. It's up to 4 players, and you need 1 dice. So the instructions are: the person who rolls the highest number on the dice goes first, and everybody's first turn they roll the dice and move that number of spaces. And then after they move, you can choose a card, which is the value of the card is dependent on the level of difficulty of the card. So there are easy, medium, and hard, all worth different points, and they're all language acquisition cards, and the goal is to be the first one to graduate. We have a sample game on the next slide.
I'll be the thimble. I'll be the little iron.
That's cute. Okay, now the pieces. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So we are going to roll the dice. 5. Okay. My turn. Thank you. 6.
And 2. Darn.
Okay. So then we have the easy, medium, and hard. So we pick a card. Translate speaker. That's bocina. So we make sure it's right. Good job. And then I move up 3 points. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I'm gonna do an easy one. So translate goodbye, adios. Yes, it's worth 1 point. So and then put it back on the bottom.
Okay, I'm going to do a hard one. And it is select, so you fill in the blank. And it's we're on our way, so it's C. And yep, so I move 3. And I put it on the bottom. And then I guess like this is the gist pretty much. Like you just,
Yeah, you go around the board and your aim is to graduate, so come to the finish line. The game is called Race to Linguistition, which is language acquisition. Yeah. Play on words. Thank you, Xandria. And yeah, that's pretty much our game.
so like Xandra said, we have easy cards.
Yeah, easy are worth 1 point. So this one says gracias, translate means thank you.
Yeah, so they're able to lift it to see the answer. And then, let's see, we'll show you all the cards. So what does cafe mean? Chocolate, coffee, or Christmas? Coffee. I don't know, you guys can read the Spanish. True or false, tu nombre es un pronombre. Is that true or false? And it's true.
And then we got
So we did them in English and Spanish.
translate hola, hello. And choose the verb.
Gigante, pintado, or azul.
Then the verb is
Pintado.
and then
Escoge el verbo correr, pequeño. Señora. Correr.
we got
Un adjetivo describe algo.
True.
True or false, clima equals climate.
True.
and then this is the one that I did goodbye, which is adios.
Then we have our mediums. So the first one is translate venta. So we lift it up. Sale. Translate cena. So dinner or supper. True or false, in Spanish, all vowels are considered short. There is no distinction between long and short vowels. Is it true or false? It's true. True or false, the letter O in frog is a short vowel. False. El alfabeto de inglés contiene la ñ. True or false? False. Good morning, so we translate that to buenos dias. And the last one is state your name in possessive form. And then your name with the apostrophe S.
So hopes.
Oh,
Cards.
Yeah. Yes. And then these
Are hard.
So these equal 3 points. And then you'd translate corbata, which is
Tie.
tie. Tie.
You knew what it was.
I know, I just didn't know how to say it in English. Okay, and then true or false.
In my handwriting?
I just don't know.
Oh, an umlaut.
Oh, okay. So it's not in handwriting, I just didn't know what the word was. An umlaut is marked as 2 dots placed above a vowel.
Which is true. We want to teach them something with the language, not just language.
Good job.
Our teacher minded.
Translate building, edificio. And then select, so you'd select the answer. So shoes are awesome. Your or you. Your. Then you select this answer. This is blank house. There, or there. Their house. Then you have true or false. The little squiggly on top of ñ is called a tilde. 3 points. It's true. Translate speaker, bocina. Okay, did that one. And yeah, select, so blank, on our way. Where, or where. And that's the answer.
That's the game.
That's so good.
Okay. Because I know that labeling students could sometimes do more harm than good, I wanted to focus on making an artwork that emphasizes everything that a student is beyond just the label that is placed on them. So for my artwork, I drew a little girl sitting at her desk. She's in school. As she's sitting, she's thinking of who she is beyond the language learner label. She is listing different things, like she's a daughter, she's a sister, she's focusing on the fact that she's funny, she's kind, she's smart, she's a reader, she writes, she's on her way to becoming proficient in 2 languages. These are all the things that she is as a person beyond just the label, beyond what is placed on her at school or by the adults around her. The illustration I created is meant to humanize English learners because I know labels can sometimes be defined by what students lack versus who they really are, and that's just, it does more harm than good. It's harmful. We should be building students up and supporting them, not making them more insecure or putting them in this tiny little box that they feel like they can't get out of. Yeah.
So for my artwork, I focused on all of the things that make me me. So the things that I value, the things that bring me joy, and the things that I am dutiful to. I was born in Mexico, and so I've always been kind of torn about like choosing sides. Like I feel like it was always a thing, like to choose, like even for insignificant things, kind of like soccer tournaments or anything like that. It was always like whenever the U.S. would play Mexico, I was kind of forced to like pick a side. Obviously now I know that I don't have to, but this is just kind of like my depiction of that. It just all culminates in the fact that we're not just one thing. We're all made of different things. So like for me, I put labels in there, which are essentially my roles. And so I did put, I'm a wife, I'm a mommy. I did put daughter, sister, auntie. So like all of the things that are near and dear to me have basically shaped me. And I just put that both sides are a part of who I am. My character has been molded by all of the things depicted in my collage.
This is the artwork that I chose to do. It goes beyond the language learner label. The top half is what I drew, and the bottom half I collaged together to form an entire piece. The top half is the girl on the bottom, but she's crying and going through so many emotions because she's thinking about what others think of her. And the squigglies on the top left represent like her mind, like racing around trying to think of like what others think of her not knowing or barely learning a new language. And the bottom half represents her pushing through those emotions, and the labels on the bottom left is a tree with the labels falling off like leaves, and it's showing that she is strong and capable of being anything that she wants to be beyond the label of being a language learner. And that was also shown on the bottom right. because the labels are behind her as if they're in the past. So it's showing that she's much more than just the language learner label.
So for English learners in the 21st century, we decided we wanted to do a game because our youth is so technologically driven these days. We figured that that was like the best way to get through to most youth nowadays. So the game pretty much ideally it would grow with them. So they'd answer a question, and then based on their answer, whether or not if they're getting them wrong, then they would get more questions geared like that one. So similar questions just to focus on that one thing that needs improving. And then once they've mastered a skill or that thing that they were trying to work on, then it would move on to like the next topic. And so ideally, the game would grow with them, and it should always be challenging them just enough for them to be able to acquire a new language without making it overly difficult. So for factors that influence the school's performance of emergent bilinguals, we really wanted to hit on text to self connections, just because, or well, text to world actually as well, just because it's a lot of what we're seeing. Recently, we read a book called Celebrating Our Cuentos by Julia Lopez Robertson, which is this one. And we feel that this completely connects reasons and factors that will influence the performance of bilinguals in school. And honestly, this can be applied to like a lot of kids, not just bilingual kids. The following are common misconceptions that people tend to hold about bilingual education students. Number one is that the parents do not value their children's education. That's completely untrue. You see a lot of, or you hear about disengagement, which is a lot of what these points touch on. And it's not necessarily that the parents do not value their education, there's other factors at play there. Number two is that they resist enrolling their kids in pre-K programs. Number three is they do not have high expectations of their children. I think everyone here can say that, like, no parent really, like, that's not true. You're, as a parent, you have high expectations and you want the best for your children no matter what. The next reason is, or the next misconception is that they resist learning English and assimilating into American culture. Obviously, this is untrue. It's not, you don't have to assimilate and just completely like give into the culture that you live in. It's about combining these cultures. And number five is that they are unwilling to participate in their own children's education. So all of these really, like we were talking about earlier, is more so the fact that there's not enough resources for the parents, not necessarily that they don't want to get involved. It's just either lack of time, lack of resources, lack of funding, or just lack of just basic understanding within administration and the parents themselves that are definitely influencing the performance of our emergent bilinguals.
In conclusion, we chose a skit for culture and reading because we wanted our thoughts on the importance of culture in a school environment to be discussed. Then we chose a board game for language acquisition because we wanted to show that it can be fun to learn. Not every lesson has to be a lecture. We chose art for Beyond the Language Learner label because art expresses the idea in a more creative manner. It allows the audience to see through our lenses. We created an online game for English language learners in the 21st century because our society, especially now post-COVID, is very dependent on technology. Everything around us is technology based, and we can either ride the technological wave or get left behind. Lastly, we chose a book talk. We focused on culturally relevant texts, specifically the importance of influence of the emergent bilingual school performances. Thank you.